Hey folks, back with another little video. This time carrying on the theme with sword reviews. This time we're looking at the Windlass Naval Cutlass. The 1860 Naval Cutlass as advertised. However, it is stamped on the blade as an 1862 Naval Cutlass. And apparently if you watch some videos and do a little rabbit hole research on Naval Cutlasses, there is no 1860. But I'm going to continue to call it the 1860 Naval Cutlass because that's what it's listed as in the catalogs and on relics.com. And also, it's a very lovely complement / match to my 1860 Cavalry Officer's Saber, which you'll see a few videos ago. Kind of why I bought this particular model. Wanted a cutlass for quite a while. Kind of the naval history in Newfoundland, kind of a Wakizashi-ish kind of thing. Let's start and talk about the scabbard while I hold it. It has a frog that's attached with a frog button. It is a separate piece. It is a very nice piece. And it is a very cumbersome piece to sit on the stand. So as it's removable, I'm going to be back in a second. I'm going to remove it. Yeah, matter of personal opinion, but I think that displays nicer, looks nicer. And that's pretty much the way I'm leaving it. I've already had this thing just stored in a drawer, and that's where it's going to continue to live. FYI, I kind of thought that this might work for the Musketeer Rapier or the Musketeer Mangouche. This distance from the button to the throat of the frog is too great. It works great for this because we have this kind of distance going on here, but the Musketeer Rapier has the button right up here on the throat, and no go, unless you wanted to cut some of the leather off of this, and we're not doing that. But either way, a beautiful piece, very thick leather, and happy to have this. That's definitely a $20, $30 bonus thrown in for free with the scabbard. Speaking of the scabbard, like most of these windlass swords, it's a leather affair. I don't believe it to be a wood core. It seems kind of floppy. Brass throat. Brass chape with a little ball on it. Nice even stitching line up the back. That's the scabbard. Let's look at the actual business end of this naval cutlass. I'd also like to throw in that in the effort of matching the cavalry saber, it didn't come with, but I took the liberty of adding a similar felt pad. I like the idea of the felt pad cushioning the scabbard mounting. So I went to the dollar store, $2.50. I bought some furniture pads, a little bit of work with a razor blade and a pair of scissors. I like it. Also added one to the Musketeer Rapier, so kind of like that idea. And there she is, unleashed. It is a 25.5-inch blade. Let's get this up here. It's a 25.5-inch blade made from 1065-1095 high carbon steel. Okay. One or the other, depending on which they felt like, I guess. I doubt it's a mix of both. I'm not sure what they're trying to tell us there. The blade width at the guard is 1 3/16. The full length of the sword from pommel to tip is listed at 31.5 inches. Grip length down here is a 4-inch. The overall handle is 5.5 inch. It is a wood core wrapped in leather with a twisted brass wire, practically a twin to the handle on the 1860 Cavalry Officer's Saber. Peened construction, leather scabbard, weighs 2 pounds. That is the specs as given on relics. One thing they neglect to mention is there is a large fuller, an extremely wide fuller, very similar to what the Saber has. Terminates right here in case you can't see it, ends right there. It carries on to a wicked tip. Very nice piercing tip. And fairly stout, fairly thick blade. Let's get down to the friendly end, which is the beautiful part of this sword. Brass backstrap. It has a knuckle bow, and if you look at it from this angle, you can see that the knuckle bow is integral to the guard and the pommel. And is it integral? Yeah, it is. It's butted into it's made into the pommel. But it's a thick piece of brass that gives your knuckles quite some serious protection from the front edge. And then it has a much thinner, I guess you'd call it a half a clamshell, that's kind of riveted to the knuckle bow and protects your hand. Not so much the knuckles, but protects the majority of your hand from incoming strikes. And I believe that completes the rundown of the Windlass 1862 Naval Cutlass. I am going to bring you out to the stump in the backyard for a cutting session. I should also mention before we look at this cutting session, I didn't sharpen this cutlass as I do with most of my swords. I wanted to try out Windlass's factory edge. I gotta say, it seemed to be a better factory sharpening than what came on the main gouge. It cuts paper, not easily, but it does cut paper. So I figured I took it out and I just took a couple of targets with me this morning just to try the factory edge. Pretty impressed. So I continued the entire session using the factory edge, and I'm going to leave it at the factory edge. They did a pretty nice job. I don't want to sharpen another sword if I don't have to, or re-profile a sword. I said to my buddy, the only thing worse than sharpening a knife is re-profiling a sword. Anyway, let's bring you out to the stump for a cutting session with the Windlass Naval Cutlass. This is trying the Windlass Naval Cutlass, the factory sharpened edge by Windlass. Not bad. Pretty good. Boom. As you can see, no slouch at the stump. It generates a lot of speed. It's a fast moving, nimble sword. I took a couple of dry cuts with it when I first got it out of the box, and I said, man, this thing moves quick. I figured even with their, not a super edge, but fairly sharp edge, I wouldn't want to put any pressure on it with my finger. It would cut you. I figured that fairly decent edge, the nice sloping geometry, and the insane tip speed that this thing generates pretty effortlessly, I figured it was going to do good. And it did great. Flubbed one cut on that iced tea bottle. I'll chalk that one up to user error. I'm pretty sure if I took another iced tea bottle out there and give it a bit more welly, she would work. But anyway, that is my review / first impressions on the Windlass Naval Cutlass. Hope you enjoyed, and as always, thanks for watching, folks. Bye.